this is for the communication between the microservices. Okay, so let's consider one scenario. We have built the application with the 50 microservices, and there are there is one at UI side in Angular application, you can say. So we are calling all the 50 microservices from the UI. So what we will have to do, we will have to add the port number, or we have to we have to maintain all the port number of the microservices, and we will have to maintain all the paths and everything. So there will this is from the UI developer perspective, this is the complex process. So we have to maintain all the ports and uh, the path of the microservices, like base path of the microservices. Yeah, okay. And this is for the at the UI side when we use the number of microservices. But there are some like backend side. There may be a possible to maintain the like common aspects of the project. Suppose every project have some common aspects, like the request needs to be authenticated. There may be a filters, like security filters, like every request will goes from the security filter, and then it will go to the other services. So if we use the normal microservices architecture, then there may be complexity to use and to achieve this mechanism basically. So okay, so yeah, so when we don't use the Zuul proxy, then our architecture will be like this. Every UI request will go to the Eureka server first, okay, and then it will goes to the other different microservices. Okay, this is the architecture when we are using the without Zuul. So, what is actually Zuul? So, Zuul is the front door for all the requests from devices or websites to the backend. So, Zuul enable us to the dynamic routing, monitoring, resiliency, and security. So, basically, Zuul is used for the dynamic purpose, like dynamic routing. Okay. I will explain you in the by giving you the example. Okay. Yeah. So I will explain you in the vendor care project itself. So how we have used the Zuul proxy. Okay. Okay. So basically, we have created the five microservices in Wondercare. Which one? First one with the Eureka service to register that I have already explained. The other one is the auth API, which is basically for the authentication and user operation purpose only. There is no another operations like business logic. There is a main API, which is a business API. So all the other business uh, operations is there, and one is a notification API, and another one is a payment API. So there are basically four microservices. Suppose if we not use the Zuul API, then what we have done actually. So I will talk about the in Angular case. Okay. So yeah. So we are using the four microservices. So there will be different ports of the microservices, right? And we will have to write the basic base URL for all the microservices in the Angular side. Okay. So, uh, to make the use of Zuul API, we need to add the Zuul dependency in one of the microservices. So it will act as a Zuul API gateway. So in these microservices, auth API is the our API gateway, Zuul API gateway. So any request comes from the UI, it will first comes in a auth API, then it will route to the another microservices. It will not call frontend will not call to the directly to the main API. So first every request will come to the auth API, then it will route to the another one. Okay. For making the auth API as a Zuul API gateway, we need to add one dependency here. So basically, this the dependency will be Spring Cloud Starter Netlix Zuul, and we just have to write the annotation here. Yeah, which is the enable Zuul proxy. Okay. So these are the two configurations we have to do, and the another one we have to maintain is okay. So in this project structure, auth API is our Zuul API gateway. So the auth API needs to know about the other microservices like main API and payment gateway. So for the Zuul to route to the another request to the another microservices, then we have to provide a configurations to the Zuul proxy. So basically, there are two configurations I have added. So you can do like this. So I have added the configurations for the main API and the payment service. Okay. So you can see here, I have added Joule routes dot service A, which is a dynamic name. You can suppose if you want to add the another microservices, then I will create as a like C. Okay. Okay. So and I have mentioned the path here, like when the any request will comes with the API slash one, then it will goes to the main service API. Okay. And when the request will comes with the API slash two URL, then it will goes to the payment service. Okay, so we have added the configurations here for the Joule to know which microservices he will route the request. Okay, so there will be a number of configurations depends upon the number of microservices. Okay, so I will tell actually by using that. So at the front end side, what I have did, I have mentioned only the if it is not the if it is not the domain name. So basically I have written the localhost. So it will this port is of the auth API. Okay, yeah, this port is of the auth API microservices, and we have base URL only this. And suppose you want to call the another API. So how will I call the API? So I will, this is the auth API. Like I'm calling the auth API. Here first I need to start the microservice. It takes time to start. Okay, auth application is started. Main application is started. Okay. So first I'm generating the token basically. So basically, I have used the JWT token here in the Wonderkey, JWT or the Wonderkey. Okay. So this is the API of the microservices main service, which is the main service. I know I'm calling this API using the auth API port number and IP address. So you can check here. Okay. So what it will do? So it will yeah, it will first goes to the auth API. Okay, I can show you. Okay. So why we have this? Like everyone knows the JWT flow. Okay. So when we are calling directly to the main API, and okay, okay. So I will talk the microservice. Okay. So when we basically build the microservices, then there we can also create the separate database for the every microservices. Okay, so that uh, they will not be dependent on the each other. So and if they want to communicate with the other microservices, they can communicate using the REST template. Okay, so basically when we implement the JWT or auth authentication, we will create a one microservices for that, and we will check, means basically we will add the configuration, like to check the whether the token is valid or not, like the means basically the request is secure or not. So what are the, like, the security filters and authentication will be handled only here in auth API. Suppose I will tell the like traditional approach what I have been doing before the Wondercare project. When we implement the JWT, so whatever the security or authentication will happen at one place, and if we not use the Zuul API, so what I have to do when I am calling directly to the main API, then when I am sending the token in the request, then first I need to check whether the token is valid or not by checking the user is existing in a database or not. Like in configurations, we will basically add the user details service. So it will fetch the user, and it will do some validation, and it will allow us to it will give us the authority and authentication. So what I'm using the before, I'm calling the validation, like token validation API from the other microservices. Uh, okay. So what happens here? So first it goes the request to the main API, then it checks for the token at the auth API, then it gives access to the main API. So this is not the right way actually uh, to calling the or checking the authentication. So using the Zuul API, what we are achieving, so every request first it will goes to the authentication API, it will check the token, it will validate. If the token is not valid, it will directly throws the exception from the auth API itself. It will not call the main API. So suppose if you are checking, okay, I will show in the work. No, okay, I'm modifying the token. Okay, so I have modified the request and the token is invalid. Okay, you can see here the request is comes in a auth API, but if you check the log of main API, there is no request comes at the main API. So you can see here the request is validated at the auth API itself, and if any exception occurs, then it will throw the exception from the auth API. So why we basically use this? There are many common concepts. Like in any project, there may be a, course filter, authentication, and some other like suppose for every request we need to check the user is active or not, user is suspended or not. So we can do all the common aspects of the project in only one microservices. So you can add all the common aspects in a auth microservices itself. So every request will comes to the auth microservices, and it will if the request is valid, then it will goes to the another microservices. So all the common assets will be appear at only one side. If we not use the Zuul proxy, then what we have to do? We have to maintain all the common assets in every microservices. We have to validate the token in every microservices. So there will be a duplicate code and there will be a slow response as well there. And if you check at the uh, like UI side, you are just maintaining the only one path only. So this is the main this is the path of the main microservices or Zuul API gateway. So every request will goes from the this API gateway, and I have maintained the like basically these are the different paths. Suppose I want to call the microservices B. So if I am passing the one in the microservices, like in the path, so it will call the microservices one, and it you can basically one is I have given for the unique identification. You can write anything here. You can not here, but basically you can write in a configuration file. Like if you want to use the other identification for the routing, dynamic routing. Okay. What the architecture in the terms of the uh, auth API like Zuul proxy? You can see here. There is a microservice A and microservices B. So there are different databases for the microservices. And authentication gateway will act as a Zuul API gateway. So this can also have the other database. So it will only have user tables or user database, user credentials in it. So when the request comes in, so it will validate the request at authentication gateway only. Once if it is valid request, then it will route to the another microservices, and it will send response to the gateway, and then it will return to the client application.